Damn, now this is buffer time. Respect.
Now show me pretty streaks of light.
What is buffer time? Is what buffer time?
Welcome back, Buffer Timers. We've come to the end of Academy's first season. And what a season it's been. It has been quite something, quite the roller coaster. Quite the divisive thing within pop culture circles. But before we get into it, let's go around clockwise and introduce ourselves. I'm Dustin.
Hi, I'm only at 96% stability, but when I oscillate correctly, I'm Dell.
I'm Windgrace, and I think I have to pee.
You should take care of it.
I'm Ren from Ren Rants, and I also sometimes have to pee.
Gannon or Scott, I can introduce both of you.
Yeah. I'm Scott from Opinions No One Cares About, and I have glue on my shoes.
My name is Gannon from the channel by the same name.
At least you don't have poo on your shoe. That's glue is better. That's fine, I guess.
Do you have Telexian furfly on your shoe?
Oh boy, I guess let's just start there. That's one of the questions I have. At what point in the season did the furfly joke die, if it did at all for you?
Like 2.
It came back around.
Yeah, I think the third time I'm like, wait, they're not going anywhere else with this. But then it did hit
Now,
me.
if they'd given us like a Trouble with Tribbles moment where like some panel opened and a bunch of Telexian furflies fell out, I would have been on board.
Yeah.
I agree. We needed to see it. Something needed to happen because of it.
Have you guys seen that? It's like the part 2 to an older movie. I think it's called The Loaded Gun with Liam Neeson. There's this joke, Naked Gun. Yeah, there's this joke in it where he keeps on picking up a coffee and throwing it away and picking up like another coffee, and they do it like 100 times, and I think every time it gets funnier. That's the complete opposite with this joke about the fly.
Yeah, that joke like somehow worked. You know, I just gonna say like side content. That was a really good movie. Usually like remakes of things like that never ever work. I mean, even by the third Naked Gun, it was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Originally, but Liam Neeson, like for a dude that's like 70, he nailed it. Anyway, for me, the furfly, it died a few episodes ago. If we'd seen it do something interesting in this last one, that would have been great, but we didn't, so it wasn't fun.
It was mating with itself. How much more interesting did it need to be? Was that okay to you?
And that bothered me right there. You think that's okay? Yes, infinite gooning and infinite combinations. This is Star Trek. Who cares?
You need to play that clip of Ortega's from episode 2 or when they just like whatever tweaks your freak or whatever she said.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. How did the Doctor doing a fake explosion that sparked an alternate title sequence hit you?
I mean, I guess it kind of made sense. He's worn all 3 division colors, so to actually become the ship is just the next step in his evolution there.
That's true.
Emergency ship hologram.
I loved it. I thought this was some of the best alternate titles Trek has ever tried to do. It might even be the best, although Enterprise, Mirror Enterprise was something amazing.
It's good. It's only let down by the CG people that were bad at the time, and they've aged even worse.
The only thing I've seen about this scene negative that does make me like, oh, like some people are like, but the ship like exploded into and around the Venari Rawl. Shouldn't they, like, going through it, have either disrupted the hologram or like noticed something? But overall, I don't care. It's awesome. It's such a cool opening.
It's really good. I wasn't expecting it at all, so I was like waiting for the normal theme song, and then it did kind of like hit me.
Now that we're at the end of the season, I do have to admit I do not care for that opening theme song at all. I was hoping it would grow on me, but it's just kind of there. It doesn't really.
No, I'm not crazy about these opening credits. Like, it's fine. There are worse opening titles in Star Trek Looking at You Enterprise, but
just doesn't do anything for me.
I couldn't tell you what it was.
Yeah, it's serviceable, but like I just
I can't whistle along to it, which does kind of make it not my favorite opening title.
that's fair. Do Caleb and Charima finally have chemistry?
I mean, I didn't think that they lacked chemistry exactly from the start, honestly. It's just I still didn't care about their romance even though they sort of had chemistry. And I think it's just because I don't know, everything else was so much more interesting that whenever they would go back to Caleb and Charima and try to drink from that well again, I'm like, I'm not thirsty. Can we please go back to the rest of the episode? But it's grown on me in like the last 2 episodes. I'm like, do I care about this? I do a little, I think. Okay.
Seeing the finale and seeing more Charima and Caleb scenes, it's made me realize that I legitimately think that these two take up way too much of this entire season. I think it's a disservice to the show. I just think that their romance, if you aren't invested in it, then they just take up way too much freaking time, that they should be exploring other things.
When you consider the fact that they had, thanks to Charima, they'd already found at least the system where Noose Bracca was. And then they took this time that I'm calling it filler just to fill this part of the episode, because immediately after this, they picked up his transmission and should have been able to track him from that, which made this whole thing kind of unnecessary. And if you don't relationship already, sorry.
I hated it.
I think in a very tiny, small, infinitesimal way, this was also showing that Charima had healed herself or reached the healing potential, in that like she was able to do this thing. She wasn't holding herself back or like being in self-doubt. I don't give a shit who fucks who, but like I liked the place where they came to where she felt like she could do this again.
I do like the way that like we kind of get a sort of catharsis where he finally fully lets somebody in after kind of pushing everyone away all season, and he does the same with the rest of the cadets in this episode as well. But also like Charima is kind of finally like engaging in a sort of self-acceptance and also being seen for the first time by someone who's telling her that these powers aren't a curse, they're actually a gift. And so it is nice seeing her like reframe that, and it does kind of make the I love you between the two of them feel really earned. And so it retroactively makes me less annoyed about how much time they spent on it throughout the season. But at the same time, I do still think there are quite a few scenes that we could have cut or cut down or like reduced while still getting the same effect that wouldn't have made it feel like it was kind of sucking the air out of all the air out of the room in the other episodes.
And if you guys remember, I really liked episode 2. Like, I thought it was very cute, and I was all for them at first, but no, like they spend way too much screen time on these two to the point where no, I would rather much see, and this is also coming from somebody who actually hates episode 7 with a burning passion, I would like to see just a lot more of Darum. Like, I would rather just see more Darum. I'd rather see more class activities. I'd rather see a whole other class with Tig. Like, I'd rather see a list of different things rather than more scenes of these two going back and forth and deciding whether they could be together or not.
Will they? Won't they? Oh, the drama.
They will. I wonder if they'll survive the summer.
Totally will.
I think the manufactured conflict is part of what like really dragged it down, because most of the time where they were like not getting along, it was basically the classic, like, if they had a 5-minute conversation, this argument wouldn't be happening situation, which, like, it is less annoying with younger characters because they have an excuse for being bad at things interpersonally. But when you do it over and over again, it does start to be to the point where you're just like, I don't care about this. This is a fake thing to fight about. Can they have something real to fight about? Hello, friend.
Hello.
Hola.
What I would expect is to not see so much. I would expect to just see them, like, you know, quick kiss in the hallway, and not so much in the next few seasons. If it follows the, like, Saved by the Bell format, Kelly and Zach were only together on and off through the entire show until they were, like, on at the end. So I would expect some, like,
yeah, they got married,
you know, some rotation to turn over here.
And that's fair, because a happy couple just being happy together is not very interesting to watch.
No.
Yeah, but I do agree that, like, they did bogart a lot of the time in the season that's already pretty short, and other characters were ultimately neglected.
Occam!
Yeah. Occam, Kyle just kind of disappeared towards the end. Thawk was gone for a while. Genesis didn't really get her fair shake this season, I don't think. Plus all the other side characters we didn't learn anything about. Pickford. Almond Basket.
Pickford.
That can take me into another, like, series of small questions I have here. Headcanon for recurring characters we didn't touch on in the last few episodes. Talk to me about Kyle.
Kyle.
Poor Kyle.
I feel bad for him being excluded from, like, the friendship ceremony in the prior episode, and then I'm kind of sad he didn't get, like, any real mention or acknowledgement or any appearance at all here.
I would say, like, maybe the War College went off to do their own thing, except we saw Kelrick. But we didn't see Kyle. We didn't see the Romulan girl after Bobby died. So, like, they just kind of disappeared from the story after Terima transferred in.
And then so did poor Occam.
Vanessa, we can't hear you.
Even after Sam hit her, I think.
Yeah, I think the last time we saw her was that one glimpse we get of her during, like, the little funeral scene for Bobby, and that's it. She's otherwise just no longer a character. Which is fair, because to be honest, I mostly was only interested in her, like, as a little pair set with Bobby, because Bobby was the funny one.
Well, that's why I would have kind of liked to see the fallout of her trauma from that. Perhaps in the Tilly episode.
Humanize her a little bit. It does feel kind of bogus that, like, Kyle and Forehead here don't, like, rate going to the class, the, like, theater class, but Darum and Genesis do, even though they're, like, so much more removed from the trauma. That was really odd.
I think they just excluded everybody from the War College.
Totally, which to an extent makes sense.
Also, Dustin, we can't hear you either.
Yeah, I was just trying to respond to Ren, like, I don't know her name either. She's the only one of the, like, recurring characters. I don't know her name.
I think
no
it's
idea. I didn't know Bobby's name until he died
Zolo or something like that. It's like a DZ name, but I just remember from, like, looking it up once and then immediately forgetting. I don't think she's, like, referred to it more than maybe once, if at all.
I think a real criticism of the episode that I have is it's, like, not just, like, Kyle not being there, but they really rushed the ending. Like, they didn't give us enough time to have, I think, a decent ending to the episode. It was just like, all right.
Well, I mean, I don't think Kyle needed to be in this episode specifically, but we haven't seen him in, like, 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Now
Yes.
we can,
Yes.
Okay, great.
I just don't think that they gave it enough time at the end to give us a proper ending that I could relish.
I mean, I
It
don't
would have
think
been
you
nice
needed
to have,
be
like, a little
included.
5-minute, a little bit of a longer epilogue scene, maybe, to, like, give us one last look at everyone before.
How about a last scene we can mustard? Or, you know, because you said relish.
Ah!
Wait. That's a condiment joke.
Kyle is basically white bread.
Oh, geez, I'm behind. Let me catch up. Headcanon Almond Basket.
Yeah, where's Almond Basket? Damn it!
The fuck?
Almond Basket
in the background in episode 1, clearly seen in episode 2, and then crickets.
Almond Basket was actually the Venari Rawls camera the entire time. That's why
I really want to
see
this. I want to see the fur fly too.
Definitely.
Like,
I hope we get to see it in season 2. I would love a plot where like the fruit fly causes some kind of mischief.
They really should have made, and I don't really care the budget or like how hard this is, but they needed to make that rock character like one of the cadets that you see throughout the show too. Like the Prodigy Rock alien.
Yeah, the Brickar, yeah.
Wow.
Well, and what about the entire bridge crew of the Athena? They were there for 2 episodes, and then just it was Doctor and Reno.
I think I almost prefer it that way. I mean, I love seeing Tig there. Like, the more Tig Notaro that we can get in this series, the better. I feel like that was probably the best part of the finale is Tig directing and giving guidance to the cadets. Like, that was clearly the best part for me.
It's like it's just kind of silly that the Athena just magically doesn't have a crew until that point.
Yeah,
like
it's
there's
no, that it was done purposely. Ake didn't want to risk anybody else's lives going after a couple of cadets.
Even the actual crew of the Athena, the ones that aren't really students.
Correct.
But it is weird that we didn't see them at all throughout the rest of the season because like
I
agree with that.
I just don't understand why they bothered introducing us to them at all then. Like, just have the couple of teachers we're going to get to know as your little skeleton bridge crew and we'll get to know them. Or just have them be like the old nameless ensigns in the background. That is also fine. We have had many a 90s Trek where you don't know all of the people on the bridge, right? Like, usually the person sitting next to Data or whatever in Ops is just some rando. Like, that's fine. Give us a few randos, but you go around and you have this scene where you introduce us to all of them and like let us see their little faces. And so I, as the viewer, think, oh, this will be important. We will see these characters again. And we do for like 30 seconds throughout the entire season, maybe. And then that's it. And it's just kind of a little bit odd. Why?
I just find it also odd. And now I know that like this cast is huge enough. Like for 10 episodes, it's a lot to cram in emotionally and plot wise and stuff. I feel like there's a lot of chopping that could be done to simplify things, but nevertheless, it's like the school only has this group and that's it. And like 2 teachers and that's it. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah, somehow they're always the ones getting into any trouble at all. It's like, not to give any credit to like the Turf Supreme, but it does remind me a little bit of Harry Potter where you have like the Golden Trio and then no one else really matters or does anything ever.
Think back to like...
It's typical, so it's not too bad.
The like Saved by the Bell thing again, or like really any show that centers around teens that are still in school, or you usually only have a couple of teachers, if at all, that like are part of the cast. So yeah, I actually think it's probably good that we stick to just a core group like the Doctor and Jet and Ake. And then we have these guest professors like Dax, you know, that don't need to be in every episode. So I think it is actually fine because like you said, yeah, there's in 10 episodes, you can't tell everybody's story.
I would like to see more, you know, we do get a bit of it in this episode, but I would like to see more like learning, not just, you know, shit happening to them.
I've been wanting that the entire effing series. Like, they literally do not go to school enough for my liking.
I don't think we'll get much more in the way of like longer or more frequent classroom scenes, but I think next season, now that we have this like foundation where we know all of the cadets, I think more often we are going to see a few of those episodes where you're like, this is the theme today in class, and then they'll go out and apply it in the real world somehow or in some perilous situation, and we'll see more of like the teamwork and stuff. So I'm expecting more of that next season. What I'm also like really hoping we get is just a couple of first-year cadets that our cadets can like take under their wing to kind of show us the contrast between our second-year cadets and the like brand new baby lamb first-year cadets. because I just think that would be a fun way to like expand the world a little bit and also kind of show us how much our cadets have matured. And I think that'll probably be similar where we'll maybe see them do more extracurriculars and we'll get like a peek at more of the side characters in their various extracurriculars and stuff. But I think this season we just really had to build up our like 5.5 main cadets.
Yeah. Or
And
like
then-
fusing of the War
Yeah.
College and the Starfleet Academy still hasn't completed. It's sort of
Yeah. So I think that'll probably
what is
happen
going
next
on.
season, maybe, where
Mhm.
they end up becoming one. I hope
So
Kyle
that-
transfers, whether he and Jaden stay together or not.
Yeah, because you got to imagine that once you get to that third year, that the academy and the War College cadets are going to do very different things. And they're probably not going to be like, they're going to have that long distance relationship. If they don't break up next season, well,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Third
going to be
season, yeah.
open for interpretation.
If
Like-
there is a third season, they should be out with Tilly.
Yeah.
At least
If they don't
I
break
know
up, one of
that
them's
is
gonna
a big
die.
if.
It would also be nice to see if they're going to keep these things as sort of separate entities, like see what the difference is, because there's been plenty of opportunities for this War College to sort of distinguish themselves in terms of like what they're capable of in a combat situation or like in a flight situation or something. Like, you know, the Tarima's abilities aside, I really don't know. And the basic training thing scene that we had. Like, what's the difference?
One is a lizard and one is a Mugado. That's the difference.
Oh,
so
I
the
do hope we
last,
see more Calico. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna get into the next thing. The last one I have on the headcanon, Pickford, the Combadge Swallower. We have been all over this all season. We have not seen or heard a
She choked in the hot
word
springs.
about her since Noose stole the mines and like she freaked out for the third time.
I fully had a dream she washed out.
I mean,
I
Where's my
had a
line of
dream that there was a
dialogue?
line that she like was not at Starfleet Academy anymore, but then I rewatched the episode to make sure, and I am just insane, and that did not happen, but it arguably should have, because she was
It
really
should have.
bad at stuff.
I mean,
yeah,
if
She
you
the
just
line
shows
was
up, I'm
enough.
gonna be upset.
if you look
in
at like the
season two.
standards that we even had in the next generation, like Wesley couldn't even get into the academy on his first
Right.
try. So I mean, she's clearly not built for this shit. Like, to a degree, you have to be like some of the best, smartest, brightest from your respective planet, from your respective race, to even be eligible for the academy. Clearly not built for this shit.
But like, we're starting it up again after a century, and if we're blackmailing people into going, like with Caleb, I'm guessing that they're trying to make enrollment quotas.
Yeah,
So,
this is,
I don't
it's a
know.
very different time than it was
Yeah.
in the 24th century.
Yeah, like I'm not saying
Yeah.
that like, you know, the badge swallower is the best of the bunch from her planet necessarily, but I think the standards are quite different.
Relaxed a smidge, maybe.
If they
Wasn't
let the
that
badge
the-
swallower through, that's negligent.
That's
also get
thing
the feeling that,
Jaden
like,
had.
Most school dramas has the kid people pick on, and that's going to be really tough to navigate in this Starfleet setting with this whole we don't do interpersonal crap unless it's interesting. But I think it lets us look at Pickford as sort of the kid that everyone should be picking on, just because otherwise it would make it almost too fake to be believable as a student atmosphere.
They can call
Well,
it pickle. Like
yeah,
broccoli.
because like by the time you get to like Enterprise and Discovery, everybody's so hyper capable that it doesn't even make sense anymore. You know, like the mistakes that they make are, you know, things that with their godlike abilities they can just sort of like swoop in and fix. But like I'm thinking, you know, Del, you're kind of onto something, because maybe it's somebody that the audience can kind of ridicule.
Oh, and they have so much. I saw a whole bunch of people who were basically using her existence as a reason why Academy is terrible. And that just seemed absurd to me because, first of all, like the Combadge thing, it's a throwaway joke. It is funny. We don't even know if she actually swallowed it. She says, I think I swallowed my comm badge. And then the doctor looks at her judgmentally and scans her. Like,
thinking might actually be worse than actually doing it. Like, how do you think you did?
Yeah, like it, but it, you know, it's one of those things where it's funny. It's a throwaway joke. We all make fun of it because it's funny and memorable. But like people are making so much of it, like I think they're making it into this huge deal, and they're like saying it makes the whole show bad. And I'm like, it is a dumb joke. You need to calm down.
I think there's a lot of underwritten things or overwritten things, and I think that's pretty fair. But like with this the badge swallowing person, I think the bigger issue was her sort of like frazzled nerves under red alert.
Melting down basically.
That's a bigger issue. Yeah, and it's like you didn't consider that being on a starship might result in that happening occasionally.
Yeah, you're gonna see someone die, pal. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're gonna swallow the occasional comm.
How it is in Starfleet.
Yeah. Well, isn't there this thing you swallow 8 comm badges every night?
5G comm badges, yes.
I also think it's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna offer an inappropriate possibility for why they were swallowing comm badges, but whatever. Anyway,
absorbed directly. Kind of she didn't eat it with her mouth.
Oh my god, I think it's kind of bogus that they like didn't have her in the like theater trauma class though, because she was so traumatized she had to be escorted from the bridge, and they're just like, nah, this chick's doing fine, she's good.
Well, she may have been gone by then. We never saw her again.
True.
So who knows? Maybe she's on a resort planet.
I just need my line of dialogue. I need my closure. Because she, like, the only scene she had where she wasn't freaking out because of something was picking on Sam and being an asshole.
Oh yeah, that's
and you don't pick on my Sam.
Yeah.
All right, let's get away from like the stupid stuff that happened this season and get into like some great stuff and a great character. Jet Reno, merely excellent or the best?
She rocks. She rocks so hard. It's great seeing her get a bigger role. It's great getting to see her like dig into being a teacher. I did like tough teacher Tilly, but I do think that Reno is the better teacher of the season. Like the way she built Darren back up when he was like being neglected by his parents, the way she like reassures Caleb when he feels like he's not good enough to help anybody, and like the way that she makes everything into a learning opportunity while supporting them through it is so good.
Literally the best aspect of multiple shows at this point. Like kind of carrying shit on her back. Like that is how great of a character Jet Reno is. I mean, so the discovery scenes are stellar. The scenes minus, I'm gonna be honest, the opening classroom scene where Caleb is like, nah, I'm too good for this shit. I feel like that could have been stronger. But every other scene that Jet Reno is in Academy is fucking awesome.
I did like how that came back around in this episode, though.
Oh yeah, you showed me who you are. That was really good. That made me feel feelings.
If I recall correctly, Tig was barely in Discovery. Like she was good, but
she was there for a couple seasons, but barely got to do anything.
She had way more movie gigs back then.
So I would say, you know, I don't think she was in it enough to carry it.
No, but she was always the glorified like. She comes
oh,
on
I meant this series more so carrying this series, but I think that she's in Discovery more than you guys think. Like there was really good scenes.
Yeah,
it's probably
around, but
7 or 8 episodes.
That's sort of like the thing that sort of sticks in my craw about Reno is like how she went from grunt, you know, with a wrench in her hand, fixing the mycelial network or engineering or whatever, to this. Like, what was the journey? Because like this is not supposed to be a sequel to Discovery. How she acquired the skills that she demonstrates in this sort of captaining role, I would like to know.
Don't forget where we found Jet Reno.
Yeah.
On the Hiawatha, after like it's something like 6 months has gone by, she's the only conscious crew member holding everything together.
Also, like the Discovery crew is responsible for like reviving Starfleet, so they're kind of like celebrities at this point.
Yeah. What Curtin Trek loves to do is tell rather than show. So it's like they tell you, hey, I'm in the Hiawatha and I kept it going and all that stuff. But it's like, I don't know. So I'm just sort of like, to me, this is just sort of a bit of a joke.
It was running around, like fixing the biobeds and stuff. Like she was definitely doing things when we.
But I think that's different from Command. That's different.
Well, I think that there's a lot of the skills there.
Right.
Yeah. And we have to assume in the 5 years or whatever since Discovery that she's probably
that's the thing. I don't like headcanoning things that I would rather witness. You know, that's like I wish Discovery gave her an opportunity to, you know, do the thing instead of Tilly and actually run Discovery and not have it captured by the Emerald Chain. Anyway.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. But like I do enjoy Reno in this. I do think she's a capable teacher. I do think, you know, she kind of does the thing where she doesn't lead someone to the answer, but empowers them to sort of like work it through themselves, which is a sign of a good teacher because it gives, you know, instills students with a sense of like, like giving them space to sort of figure it out. So that's nice.
For me, the best, most versatile person in Star Trek. There are characters I like more, but she's the most well-rounded, versatile character I think we've ever seen. I love her so much.
Yeah, she's great. I feel like she's the one you most believably just like imagine having a life outside of Starfleet. Like
in like all the series. All of them?
Tell me somebody else that can hold down all of that. Worf, are you fucking kidding me?
Worf?
I gotta hear this. Make your case, because no,
how is he not well rounded? I don't understand.
Worf does everything literally. He's like in 2 whole series. There's like nothing that Worf hasn't done. He's commanded. He's been a jackass as a commander. He's like fought multiple wars. He's been a spy.
But he's also like failed way more times at it. And apparently he was the cause of the destruction of the E.
He's a walking Greek tragedy. They torment Worf.
Right. Like he was on screen enough to make mistakes.
The rule is actually all your fates suffer.
I don't see him as anywhere near as capable as Reno.
What?
At most things. Like, we've never seen him do engineering and actively annoyed by it. I guess we've seen her do extreme medical. And I guess we've seen him deliver a baby, so that's not nothing in that. So I mean, I guess he does have some skills in all of the areas except for engineering. So sure, I guess, but
he's not an engineer. He's a warrior commander. He's a leader. Like he doesn't.
I got that, but we're saying like well-rounded, like in all of the categories. Like, tell me another character in Star Trek that can do medical, engineering, command, and just day-to-day deal with people.
And teaching. Teaching is a hard skill.
Okay, Worf isn't very good with people.
Fair. No, he's not.
I think he can teach. He just has like a weird style.
I've seen him do that, and he seems to be pretty good at it.
I think he's capable of teaching. It's
actually, I don't know.
I have to figure out how to get along with him.
I think you've convinced me because he mentors really, really well in the lower decks.
I mean, I think he could be a good teacher for certain people. I don't think he'd be a good general teacher, like just in the academy. But for very specific people, sure.
Does he mentor well to Alexander? That's the question.
He's a terrible father.
I feel bad for what a bad father he is, because I feel like he never had a chance. Poor Wolf.
Yeah, he like. I think he just didn't give himself the chance to be a father. Really.
That was. So
what about Jeremy Astor? He brought that kid into his house and Crickets.
And he
Never
lost his
heard
house
from
like twice.
again.
Heard from or discussed again.
The kid didn't have any family supposedly left.
His own brother doesn't know
He goes to
who
live
he
with
is
an
anymore.
aunt at the end of the episode.
I
But
feel like
we should
we
still
will
like
Does he?
hear that he got like a letter from Jeremy Astor or something at some
You know,
point. Like he should be
I-
referenced like there's still.
I don't
in
know
conversation.
if it's really fair necessarily to make the one-to-one comparison, because again, I don't think Reno's had enough screen time to make the kind of mistakes on the scale that Worf has, because if she has had the kind of mileage that Worf did, inevitably she's going to make the kind of mistakes like, you know, the kinds that Worf did, you know? So I feel like give her a chance to screw up and she will.
Maybe. On the other hand, I feel like we mostly are going to watch the cadets screw up just because of the nature of the current show. But I think if we had Reno, like if Discovery had gone on longer and Reno got like more stuff going on, I bet we would have seen her make some mistakes, because they love to have people make silly mistakes, especially in modern Trek. But yeah, no, I love her in this series. I think she rocks. She had so many moments where I was like cheering when she's like talking to the cadets, and like the stuff with her and Laura is so cute. Yeah, I love my space lesbians. I love them.
What do you think Mirror Reno would be like? Just exactly the same?
Yes, I don't think she'd be very different at all.
She'd be bisexual.
I was trying to think of some clever way.
I was thinking like leather dom, but I'll be off in my own little corner. Thanks.
It'll be like Mirror O'Brien. Like Mirror O'Brien was still like really nice. He just had to conform to his terrible environment.
So speaking of O'Brien, and we had just talked about some family stuff. On a scale of O'Brien's to Annika Hansen's parents, how would you rate Caleb's mom? Does she have it going on?
Complete tweaker. Just a complete tweaker.
Okay, I wouldn't put her quite as high as Seven's parents, because Seven's parents, like, did not have to do that. They did not have to put a child in proximity to the Borg. They had no reason to have to do that. Whereas Caleb's mom was forced into her situation because they were on the brink of starvation and they were just trying to survive. So she made some bad and irresponsible decisions that did fuck up their lives. But at least hers were made out of desperation instead of just dumbass hubris. But I also think that she probably could have, I don't know, maybe found some kind of different avenue other than like allying herself with murder pirates.
Or, you know, maybe this person, this Hawaiian that encountered them could have said, hey, you guys hungry? I don't know. Like, that's the reason.
Well, I mean, if you're being
bringing that
boarded,
food to other people who were also starving. So, like, I do think that's a difficult position where you're like, here's this food and medicine. You need to bring this to this group of starving people. And then you're beset by pirates. And while Mom is hungry, Noose Braca is famous murder pirate. So you have a reason to try and keep him from getting your food.
Why?
Got a chance to make the offer. It sounded, the way I understood it, they beamed onto the ship. Noose shot the dude when he was trying to pull his phaser, and that was it.
Yeah.
Why are we also just like, it sounds like we're transporting straight up food. Why can't we just transport a couple replicators and a power source? Like replicator technology.
No dilithium.
There are
There's no
replicators. There's replicators.
You don't need
power.
Yeah, I don't think you need. And aren't they still using dilithium?
Yes, there's a lot less dilithium in the galaxy because a lot of it blew up.
Like nothing has really changed. Like
until this episode, when the Doctor stabilized
Disco found
unlimited power.
Full of it.
Like we're just gonna go back to using warp drives and using dilithium.
Then
like,
if there's replicators, then that undoes the entire plot, because there's no reason to hijack anything. There's no reason for anybody to starve, and there's that's
the same thing.
Just because you don't need
you didn't have enough
dilithium.
replicators, so they had to steal the industrial replicators to feed their own people.
It's
so
still a big piece of technology that has to be made, and with a lot of material input to make it, and you still need a lot of energy to run it. You don't need dilithium necessarily to make that energy, but you need energy, and you need a lot of it. And like even you said,
some way to
they didn't have the energy.
Process things into synthahol. Like it seems like you need a whole system to make it work, but I don't know, because it did also sound like a replicator is a thing like in Picard's era where you could install it in the house, since like Picard's brother and his wife had that whole debate over the replicator.
Right,
so,
but that's not the industrial.
Right, I mean, that's on Earth, like in the middle, at the height of like things are okay.
But you would assume it'd be like more efficient now too. So like I do think that does raise some questions of like, why not more replicators? But it's also kind of easy to answer them with some made up like this component was missing, or this part of the Federation that manufactured this component was no longer reachable at this time. So I think there's lots of ways you can like justify why they couldn't just give people replicators. But it's one of those things like transporters where you always have to write an excuse for why you can't just use that.
I'm going to break it down like this. So the average person in the US might not be able to feed themselves, but Pete Hegseth, on the taxpayer's dime under the Secretary of War budget, can spend $6 million on snow crab legs and stuff. So, you know, like the military, we know that we've been through like whether it's a space navy or not, but, you know, point being, the military gets all the cool stuff first.
My final comment on this is, from my perspective, a single 24th century ship, I know it was top of the line, you know, with a single warp drive, every single room had a replicator like it was a basic appliance, you know what I mean? And now we're in the 32nd century.
Sure.
So I feel like replicators are not just like a thing that the Federation's gatekeeping anymore. I feel like it's probably easier.
I would probably compare it to something like, you know, like during World War II or like other war times when like you have to redirect a lot of resources into like manufacturing what you need to survive wartime. And so that then makes it so that everyday people can no longer get things. People have to, you know, get like ration cards for their food and shit. And so I could imagine there's like some kind of rationing on components that results in fewer replicators being around, fewer this or that being available, and like most of it being like used by, frankly, the people who control the resources to maintain some amount of power in order to
like I would just think
it's not good.
I would just think like if you are choosing as a federation to selectively starve people, that this kind of outcome is inevitable.
That's not fair.
Well, they're not
That's
starving
totally
people.
fair.
They just have limited
if you have
resources
enough,
to help, so they're forced to make the decision.
If you have enough resources to help, like say 5 trillion people, and there's 100 trillion people that need help, yes, you have to prioritize your resources. You cannot be beholden to every terrorist that also needs a handout and will shoot you for your food.
So,
and this is during a time you don't have free travel, and like it's like if the U.S. right now blew up and you couldn't drive your
what
cars.
gives them the right to hoard all these resources to withhold it from people that
they're clearly not
regardless
hoarding them.
They're
giving out what they have.
They're choosing
but also
where
it
it
is
goes.
their resources, right? Like they have a collective of planets that have all agreed we're going to help each other. So they have obligations to the planets that have agreed they're going to help each other, arguably.
So that means that they can starve other people.
They don't have enough for it.
I mean, it's a terrible thing to have to contemplate,
like a
but
bad
yes,
situation.
in
that
times
means
of,
that
like,
they
triage.
could be targeted.
Where
that means that they are targeted. It makes
everyone.
sense that they would target others if they're going to consolidate all these resources and say no, nothing for anybody else. It's just for the planets that we decide to, and we're going to fly over with these supplies and not, you know, we see that there's a starving planet below. Too bad, so sad. But you know that is an obvious, like, duh. Of course they're going to be targeted.
But I mean, they did point out that, like, you know, that mining colony down there, they had something. They had strontium. They at least had something that
not
they
food
trade.
though.
No, but they had something they could trade for food. Whereas the people they were bringing the food to, from the sound of it, did not even have anything they could trade for food. She's talking about planets so desperate where all they need is body bags for all of
I
their
was just
bodies.
going to say that.
Like, this is like a huge humanitarian crisis,
Well,
and it's not the same as like
I don't really care about Noose. I'm talking about whatever the mom. You know, what about
Anisha?
her? Yeah.
Well,
accessory to
it
murder.
sounds
Now,
like
I
was
think her
in a
sentence
bad
was
situation on
excessive
a planet
because
that
she
wasn't
didn't
getting
stop.
help.
Because she was hungry and she didn't stop somebody
Very
from shooting
excessive.
somebody else. That's hardly fair.
Well, no, she gave him the schematics to get onto the ship, which allowed him to
It's
shoot
still
someone
an
else. So what she
accessory.
functionally
Yeah.
did was
I
felony
only drove
murder.
the getaway car
Like,
for the robbers.
yeah,
Officer,
because
sorry.
she did
Because she's
create
hungry.
Yes.
and
Because she's
well, yeah,
fucking
but at the
hungry.
same time, so were the people they were bringing that food to. And
Right.
she facilitated the death of this Federation officer through her actions, and him being shot by Noose Braca was a foreseeable consequence of her actions.
As
So-
is flying full convoys
Sure.
of food over a
But
planet
again,
that-
like this
yeah.
isn't a situation like right now on Earth, we could feed everyone right now. If rich people stopped hoarding, we could feed every single person on Earth and make everyone thrive, and we have
This
the
is
resources for
not
that.
that situation.
The Federation did not have those resources anymore at that point. They had limited resources and difficult decisions to make.
If
Where
they had
basically they're
replicators,
in
that's not
Freon.
the case.
They're like, what is
But
the
again,
maximum
it's not
amount
infinite.
of good that we can do with the limited resources we have? And that means that they can't give them to everybody. And that means they have to pick who has absolutely nothing versus who has something that they can hopefully trade with someone else for resources. It's a situation where everyone's desperate
So why
and there are
didn't they
no good
trade?
choices.
So
Huh?
why didn't the Federation ask for their strontium?
They didn't need it from
They
the sound
probably
of
didn't
it.
need it.
It's probably just not like something that
It's
they have.
probably used by like lesser worlds, but not so much by Federation.
Yeah, or
Anyway, we've got 15 minutes left. I got some big questions. We have
Sorry.
hovered on this one for quite a while.
question.
That's all right. But I want to get to how does Noose Braca stack up against other Trek bad guys? And do you think we've seen the last of him?
Can I start? Can I start, please, please, please? I have something I really want to say.
God, I love him.
Yeah, no, I think that this guy was amazing up until the point where they spent his entire finale in this stupid little courtroom setting. I feel like it's such a waste. I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to make him convince the space thugs across the galaxy for him to get like a little army of his own. But no, I really thought this is a missed opportunity. This guy was so evil. He was like sicking school children to man-eating bats. Like, he's an evil guy. The fact that we have this whole hour-long finale and all he did was just kind of be an arbitrator is a missed opportunity to me. You had Ake and Caleb's mom in your custody. Like, you need to do some evil shit. I really was disappointed, and it takes like actual whole entire points from the episode that this is what they use him for. Like, I'm
totally
sorry.
disagree. I thought it was awesome. I liked the recurring trial theme because it's fun to have the Federation and its ideals put on trial. I liked that we got references to the fact that he and Anisha didn't really get a trial. And the thing you have to understand about Noose is he's a guy with a belief system. Everything that he does is based on the belief, his incorrect belief, but still the belief that the Federation attacked and destroyed his colony when he was a child. So he sees them as a bunch of hypocritical, violent, resource hoarding thugs. And so he's put them behind his little wall. And now he wants to consolidate power with everyone else. It doesn't mean he's not evil, because he definitely is. He's a bad dude with bad methods. Mm-hmm. But he, to an extent, and if he had been correct about what happened, he would have had a point. Honestly, the thing that I thought was kind of the weakest was actually making it so he had that misconception. I think that if he had had them fire on the Federation and the Federation fired back and, like, accidentally exploded everything or something like that, I actually would have kind of liked that better, because I think it's more complex rather than him just being wrong. But at the same time, I think it works so well as a contrast with Caleb, because he and Caleb both have sort of a warped perspective of these very traumatic events that happened in their childhood. And Noose allows his to completely define him, completely shape every single thing he does for the rest of his life, as far as we can tell. Whereas Caleb has a very different set of circumstances where people actually reach out a hand to him, pull him in and rescue him and give him a chance to be different, be something better, and still find his mom the right way. And I also like the way that Ake is sort of able to, like, make amends with him through that process. Like, it works really well. And I like that when the Federation is on trial, Ake defends it, and she does a really good job. The way she like turns it around on Noose, I kind of thought that was awesome. It worked really well. The way she like takes the wind out of him, like it's good. I liked it.
I didn't even get to see him like vaporize somebody for getting annoyed or something. Like I shouldn't have to put like
That's
so
not
much
his
thought.
style, though. Like he didn't kill anyone really on the ship when he first came to take the warp core either. That's not his style because he thinks he's the good guy. The good guy doesn't just pointlessly vaporize someone because he's pissed off. The good guy maybe leaves you on the ship to die because he thinks that you suck. In his perspective,
he wanted all those kids to get eaten by bats, by man-eating bats.
I mean, I don't think he wanted them to. I think he was just ambivalent about it because he didn't put them in that dangerous situation. The Federation
he did leave the cadets in Reno to supposedly die.
He pressed the button.
Yeah,
that would
well, he
kill
didn't know the cadets
trillions.
were there.
He pressed the button.
Scott,
he did.
You've been trying
he's
to
an
get
evil
in here for
person.
a
He's
while.
not actually a good person. He thinks he's a good person. That's the difference.
Yeah, but I'm a lagging myself.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and for him, this is really like a show trial because he just, set up a huge minefield that's going to paint himself as, the good guy who made the right decision, which is why I think he's not going around making threats or attacking people and actually holding what was, in all aspects, kind of a fair trial. Even though, one person was judge, jury, and essentially executioner.
It was restorative justice vibes because he allowed the wronged party to be the one who was the jury and executioner, which I did kind of like. Also, the scene where Anisha confronts her. Oh my God. That was so good. Tatiana Maslany is just...
It was wonderful.
Incredible.
I actually do want to disagree just a tiny bit, as I don't think he thinks he's the good guy. I think he knows he's a bad guy, but he's using his villainy for what he thinks is the right reason. Because he's admitted a couple times he's a scumbag. He's a piece of crap. But he's been made that by the Federation. So he wants to show them, this is what you made me, and also I'm trying to do the best for what I think is my worldview. But I don't think he was going to turn around and be like an upstanding leader after this or anything.
And don't forget to tune in at 2100 for more of the true Noose Braca story.
So what I found I was actually on Venari Noose Braca's side for about 90% of this show because I feel like the sentence, the taking away Caleb and putting her in a rehab because she was at the wrong place at the wrong time was total horseshit. I feel like, the robbery gone wrong, being holding her accountable in a way that Noose Braca was horseshit. I feel like her anger was completely justified. And I feel like, because Venari Rawls' mistake was getting the story wrong about his planet, that it left the Federation off the hook for what happened there. So that I feel like was bullshit. I feel like this was sort of like Encounter at Farpoint a bit, where we had the Federation on trial for its crimes, but I feel like the resolution doesn't work because it got off track because Noose Braca made a mistake in understanding how his planet was destroyed or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
So then it took the focus off of what happened with Caleb's mom. Because who cares about?
Yeah, the Federation didn't do this particular crime.
Yeah,
I mean, all they can do is partner, say they're sorry, and move on at this point. And they kind of did.
Yeah,
they let it go for an okay,
not in jail,
they're like,
and she's,
okay,
right? But I mean, did they say it?
Not on screen. But it's
okay.
But I think we knew from the start that was going to be the plan for her.
But I really wanted, because I feel like actual restorative justice would include that scene.
We did get it at the beginning of the episode, didn't we?
Did we?
Oh yeah, she did say that if they didn't have the situation, they would give her a ship and let her go. So I guess she did kind of get explicitly told she's.
Yeah, that's still not that's still not saying I commute your sentence. It's not like a legal. Like,
I took that more to be like, I would personally let you escape right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I assumed it was like something she had already discussed with Vance, because Vance basically said he was going to help her.
Yeah,
like,
again, the headcanon. The restorative justice was the point of this episode, and it didn't completely wrap up in a satisfying way. It was just sort of like, happy ending, and they didn't get that part. So that was a little...
I mean, I don't know. I think we kind of got it addressed in the scene where, like, Anisha confronts her and Ake basically says, yeah, you're right. I should have done more.
No. That didn't happen. Instead, what Aki did, which actually really offended me and disgusted me, which was like say, well, you might as well, kill me because my son, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why are we talking about you now?
Well, because she wanted to connect with Anisha, wanted her to suffer. And she's like, I'm already suffering. So
but that's not the point. That's not the point of the discussion, to talk about her.
It kind of is.
The point
it's not so much of making it about her as it is about connecting with Anisha and being like, look, I agree with you. I fucked up.
Okay, so then that's great that you feel bad. Now I feel bad that you feel bad, and then you feel bad that I feel bad that you feel bad. And you see how,
I don't think she feels bad that she feels bad, though.
It's like it's just... I think
Anisha's justified in enjoying that she feels bad.
What she could have said was, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and put actionable steps in place rather than talk about herself. I just thought that was offensive.
I think she's trying to humanize herself a little more than that's unfeeling Starfleet officer.
Well, I think she was also acknowledging the extent, like that she was aware enough of the extent of her wrongdoing that it has been haunting her, all of this, because Anisha said, I don't want you to have any shelter from this. I want this to like haunt you every day, basically, is what she was saying. And Ake is basically saying,
I'm already haunted.
You got that. It already is. And I thought that was good.
But restorative justice is like, okay, in order to restore this, in order to make you whole, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Versus and like, blah, blah, my son. Who cares about your kid? I don't give a shit.
Well, I think she was trying to connect with Anisha because over the fact that like both of them in desperate situations made choices that contributed to them losing their sons. Because like Ake was in a situation where it was either abandon her crew and let them die and go to save her son, or save her crew and let her son die. And she chose the latter and she lost her son. Whereas Anisha was also in a really difficult position where it's like, continue trying to feed your kid out of the dumpster, or give this pirate the access codes to a ship and then board the ship with him.
No, I understand how the situations are comparable, but that's not what the trial's about.
No,
so
but
I feel like it's
it is and it isn't though. I mean, it's about the Federation in general, but Noose purposely put somebody that was going to make it personal into the role of prosecutor. So it is about that. It's about a lot of things.
Right, because she didn't put it on a trial, and it was her that did the sentencing. So it's not just like personal in terms of like,
she didn't do the sentencing. She just said guilty. You knew Noose was actually going to do the sentencing and put her to death.
Oh no, I think Vanessa's talking about the sentencing of Noose and.
Okay.
Which I kind of what to me, it sounds like happened from what they discussed in the second episode is basically that she advocated for like basically a plea deal for Anisha. The Federation basically told her to fuck off and sentenced her to rehabilitation colony. She follows orders and then feels bad afterwards and resigns. So I don't think she like decided on the sentence, but I do think that like she basically gave up when fighting for Anisha didn't work and then just followed orders. And that's her crime, is that she followed orders and didn't resign the moment they said that they weren't going to do that. Like she didn't fight harder.
And like, isn't it a little ironic
to happen
to bring up I was just following orders? Like, is that a defense even worth mentioning?
I don't think it's framed as an excuse like that, like a justification. I think it's framed as a bad thing she did to just follow orders instead of what
and that's why she quit Starfleet. Which is
break the orders and let them escape, break the orders and like somehow fight for them more, resign in protest before they're sentenced, something meaningful before that happened, and she didn't, and that's why she's felt all this guilt for all these years, and that's why we get that sort of cathartic moment where she just
I guess like I wish that there was less emphasis on how bad she feels. I really don't care about her feelings. I just wish it was less emphasis on how bad she feels and how the Federation can fix this. Not just for, you know, Anisha, but everybody else that has been affected in this way.
Well, there's no way to fix it. Is the problem.
Well, and right now it's like all you can do is battle in this stupid show trial and hope to get the people in the gallery on your side. That was what it was all about, truly. Anyway, that wasn't even the question we asked. We were talking about how it was supposed to be about how good or bad Noose Braca is versus other Trek bad guys.
He rocks.
And
I
for
guess,
me,
like,
he's like right
yeah.
up there with Khan. And for me, he's like a cross between Harry Mudd and Khan.
That's
I
the
love this guy
vibe.
so much.
I just wish that his backstory wasn't so collapsible. And like,
I do
as
agree
soon
with
as
that.
yeah.
I kind of wish that he had just been right. I wish he hadn't been wrong about what happened on his colony, because like the Federation would have been justified returning fire if they were fired upon to an extent. So like it wouldn't have been like the Federation is irredeemable because this happened, but it would have made it so that like he has a stronger reason for doing what he's doing, even if he's wrong about his approach. And that would have, to me, made him a more complex and like endearing character. Whereas now he's kind of just like, I don't know, foolish for not questioning what he thinks he saw with his own eyes as a child. That kind of bugs me because like he was a little boy. He thinks he saw them fire on his colony. Like
in terms of bad guys, I think of the God, why can't it? Kai Wynn to me is the ultimate bad guy. Noose to me is very Rita Repulsa. Sorry, Del. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. She used to chew on chicory. She was the captain of the Scythe. She was like a shapeshifter on a Revenge. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Vada?
Yeah. I see the Shrike. Sorry, I'm an old person. I see those two as being like both on a little bit of a campy villain. Like they don't necessarily have twirly mustaches, but they have very camp villainous about them.
I see that.
And also they've kind of been inspired by incorrect information. And so I feel like if we're going to compare any two villains, those two really feel like almost related to me.
I do like how theatrical he is. Paul Giamatti just like ate up that role. He was every scene he's in. He's so fun to watch.
He is chewing the shit out of that scenery,
and he better get a fucking Emmy for it.
Seriously.
All right, we're like past time, but I want to get a couple of more questions in here. Is Jet Reno's warp catchphrase the best? And if not, whose is? Give me them pretty streaks of light. Love it.
I liked it. That was so cute.
I would like the ship to go now.
I'll take it.
What was
you're gonna go with Spock?
Yeah.
I'm biased. Like I really like Captain Pike's Hit It. Like I think it's pretty badass.
Hit It is pretty good.
Yeah, same. I enjoy that one too.
It's a lot better than Engage the Core.
Lorca did keep it short and sweet, just
and we'll never know what Sevens is.
Probably not. When it comes to the first season climaxes in Trek, what is the best one?
The Talaxian Furfly.
That's not quite what I meant about a climax, but there you go.
I do kind of feel like it's like this one. I don't know. The stakes were stakey. You kind of always know it's going to work out fine in Star Trek because of the nature of the show, but it's nice to like, you know, wonder how they're going to get there.
Disco season 1. It's Disco season 1 for me. Like finding out that Lorca is from the mirror universe, like what else has been more exciting, more of the twist in the
But
first
you
season
find
of the
that
Trek
he's
show?
dead a few episodes before the end of the first season. We're talking about like final episodes.
Yeah, the season ends with the Enterprise showing up and no cast members appearing.
Yeah.
Oh well, then maybe that lower decks when the Titan shows up, but that's season 2, I think.
Yeah, that's season 1.
Okay, well, that was pretty badass.
I mean, I think it's probably objectively got to be Best of Both Worlds.
Yeah, Best of Both Worlds.
TNG.
Yeah.
That wasn't.
But this one is damn close.
Though, right? That was 2 to 3 or 3 to 4.
Oh, I thought you just said season period.
That was season 3.
Oh, I thought we were doing season 1 only.
No, you're right. That was I'm
We're all thinking
losing
first
my
seasons
mind.
here.
Okay, yeah,
you're
first
right.
season.
No, okay, this one. Period. End of story. Period. End of story.
Yeah,
Final answer.
I don't think there's much in the way of first season competition in terms of just like. I feel like it was just the right amount of stakiness to the stakes. I appreciated that the entire universe was not going to explode, but the Federation being trapped behind a wall is like pretty
significant.
Pretty good. I
Big,
liked
beautiful
that.
wall.
And I do like that they got some mileage out of like how scary Omega is. Do you say build the wall?
The big beautiful wall.
He made the Federation pay for it.
I was gonna make a commentary about it being a wall and being built. This idea that it's sort of the opposite of what people are trying to sell us right now is this idea of like, no, we're going to put all of the people. This would be like if all the immigrants came together and said, we're just going to put a big wall around DC. And like,
well,
fuck
least...
that.
Honestly, it might happen if stuff like this keeps going.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I felt like that was the maybe like the social commentary to some level that was going on. This idea of like, if you don't meet what the universe wants, then we can just get rid of you.
Yeah, at least in this case, News Bracco was like, we're going to put a wall around the Federation and make them pay for it. And he did.
Yeah.
I'm an actual
contrarian and say
we're gonna use their own Omega.
I do kind of wish that there was some actual threat. Like everything, like it reminded me so much of, you know, Picard or something, where it's like we have this big threatening weapon and we're gonna do fuck all with it. Nothing, you know, there's no actual threat. We're not going to detonate anything. It's going to be fine. We're going to have a big Shrike ship and we're not going to use it. We're going to have, you know, DMA. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Like
I think in the episode before they actually did set off like one of them in
right, but like it wasn't. I mean the amount of Omega particle to go around the entire Federation in case it is just insane. But like, why not blow out like a quarter or something? Like, show people that you're serious, or like actually kill Caleb's mother. Do something that has some consequences to it.
Okay, that is one of the things.
I'm so glad they didn't do that. I would have been pissed.
We can't.
Trek has played that dead parent trope so fucking many times. I am so glad we didn't do it.
I would have been so mad, especially because like we spent the whole season looking for her. It'd be so cruel to have them reunited and then immediately kill her off. I would be actually pissed off.
Or kill Aki. Kill Genesis.
No,
kill somebody major. Actually have some consequences.
Kill Pickford.
I'm kind of sick of New Trek killing off people when they don't need to. Like they've done it way too much.
I'm talking about like
what the hell?
But the problem was then 2 seasons later they try to bring them back through like mushrooms or something.
That's the thing. It's like we always come back to center. That's sort of the theme of this first season. It's like nothing really happens and everybody just kind of ends up in the exact same place where they started. That's not.
Oh, I don't agree with that. I mean,
they definitely did not.
Sam changes drastically. Caleb changes drastically. Darum changes.
Genesis is probably the only one that didn't really change.
But I mean, Genesis broke into the ship, no consequences.
She got removed from the captain's track.
Darum left his marriage that was so like purposeful and meaningful. It was supposed to be like king of the planet. That didn't really have any consequences.
Objectively, the worst.
I wouldn't wipe my ass with that episode.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is.
Awful.
Like
that's not what happened.
Like my, I think.
I mean, it's
my
not
favorite season finale is Hands of the Prophets. Hands of the Prophets.
Oh,
Oh God, okay? Actually, yeah, I forgot about that one. You are absolutely right. That is the best finale.
Dustin.
I mean, this is the biggest spectacular, but you are right. You are absolutely right.
Dustin, I'm doubling down. I'm a piece of shit. Like, I gotta say that them making the Titan Gannon and having it come in and blow shit up made me feel way more feelings than anything in this entire season.
Okay.
Can't relate.
That's gotta be a dope season 1 finale.
Like,
So
no one
speaking of
felt
feelings,
like really in danger. That's all I'm saying.
well, let's remove all of the
I would
danger
actually
and
prefer
stakes.
less danger. Like, I didn't want the omega particles. That's too galaxy wide. I would prefer just the personal stakes.
I just want to know your thoughts on the baby picture closing credits.
I thought it was cute. I thought that was cute. I don't really think it has anything to do with like actually anything that goes on in the show. Like, don't really.
No, that was just for us.
Yeah, this is just showing the actors with their baby pictures and when
Tig
they were
is
younger
so
in school.
cute.
Why did I come after the two voices?
No, that was awesome. That was really cute. I liked it.
I get that they're showing their actual baby pictures, but it would have been great if for the doctor it was just like nothing, just a blank picture.
It was Dr. Zimmerman in front of a keyboard.
In another life, he would be the actor.
He looks so different.
I really wanted that picture of younger Carter where he hasn't.
No, I liked it. It made me feel feels.
Sam definitely
it was a much
looks
more
the most similar to her younger self.
It was a much improved version of like the signatures they did in Star Trek 6.
It's always wild how some kids look exactly like their adult face and some do not. Because you're right. Like, she looks like Sam, but little, small.
Like, there's a picture of the doctor, Robert Picardo, with like kind of a fro going on.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
It's really cute.
I wanted that picture.
Just a little guy.
All right. We have been at this for a while. Let's get our out of 10s out of the way. We're only going to, on the ticker, put up the number for this specific episode. But as we go around, think about where you would rank out of 10 the two-parter as a whole. I will start because I am big excited about this episode. I do agree with Vanessa. I do think that the finale of DS9 is better. But you know what? They are both 10 out of 10 episodes. That one just happens to be better. I have very few just little nitpicks with this one. And I don't even remember what they are off the top. It actually is like more about the like technobabble about discovery. Otherwise, this hit all the points. For me, it has a trial with some stakes. It pits old feelings against each other. It gives the cadets a chance to show their strengths again, and that is one of the biggest strengths of this season. I have never seen a first season in Trek that showed me as exclusively like what everybody was capable of. In 3 different episodes, this is the 3rd time I've had to say, like, wow, they really did a good job of showing me what all of these different cadets in this ensemble cast are capable of. It's not just 1 or 2 of them and the rest are just casually pushing buttons. They all have a function, and I love that. The ending's pretty perfect overall. Yeah, 10 for the episode. But the two-parter, it's 8.5. The first one, it had a lot of little problems for me that added up to enough that it took it down overall. The whole thing, like, everybody's pretty much said that, like, a few hundred minds is not going to cover a sphere the size of the Federation. I just don't buy that, even with the power of Omega. Now with the power of OxyClean. Anyway, I'm good. 10. I love this episode. Del.
I think the biggest thing for me about this episode is I do not relate Star Trek with like post-apocalyptic horror. And I felt like a lot of the stuff with Nuss in this episode had that feeling kind of almost shoved in my face a little bit of this like, this is what's on the other side of it's Mad Max on the other side of the Federation. and I don't know, it wasn't what I was really looking for. The propaganda on the walls felt a little pressured. I can see how it's trying to relate to like modern day, but that didn't do it for me. I liked last week's episode so much better. And I would say together they're an 8.5.
So a 7 for this. What was the one for just this week?
I don't know. Whatever makes 8.5 the average. I would say like a 7. I think I did 8 last week. But yeah, I would say it's a 7. There was no Tina Turner, therefore lack of 0.5s anywhere.
That's in the director's cut. So yeah, this episode didn't have necessarily everything that I was expecting from it. Like the galaxy-wide event really ticked me off last episode, even though I was very intrigued to see how they resolved it. And we didn't really talk about that much today, but having it be sort of kind of done through the doctor who was glitching after he had his emergency ship hologram program going off. It was nice. I like to see the interaction between the doctor and the cadets being able to actually help on the ship with Reno, and kind of a callback to their spectacular failure when they were working together on the ship, not in an actual situation. The one thing I do question though is, now do we have just all of these stabilized omega particles floating around the quadrant just ready to be infinite power for everything forever? Or did they like neutralize them by stabilizing them? Because if they're just a stable omega molecule now, we've just got however many 57 hubs of just infinite power floating around out there. So that's interesting to see if they ever touch on that again. I liked the trial setting, but I do agree that the Noose just kind of being like an incorrect little boy who then, when confronted with that, was like, no, that can't be right. I wish there was a little bit more. There's a little bit more meat there. But all in all, like it did have the emotional impact. It did feel like there was a conclusion to the season, even though I didn't really want the conclusion of the season to be solving a galaxy ending event. I did want it to focus mostly on the resolution between the interpersonal stuff of the characters, because that's mostly what it was built up to be, as far as Caleb and his mother and all that. And we did get to see that, but I do feel a little bit like Vanessa. It was a kind of just, oh, here's your mom back now, and there's no real consequences. She's just living on Earth, going on trips, and now everything's hunky-dory. So whether or not they come back to that in season 2 and deal with some more issues, I don't know. And the other issue I had with it is just partway through the season, they decided to drop a lot of the side characters. I know we didn't have enough time for most of them, but it's just like, Laura Thock's barely in it anymore. She got a little bit in this, which was nice. But all the other people we mentioned that are just like, after episode 6, bye-bye. Overall, I think probably I'd give it like a 8.75. Oh, and for both of them, I think I liked last week a little better, but not by much, so maybe a 9.
Okay, I am up here with Ben. There's not a lot about this episode that I like. Game, I love how this.
You are lagging out, Scott.
I love. Of course I am. Of course I am.
Now you've turned it around. Go try it.
I love Noose, throwing a trial, but not turning it into a kangaroo court and actually losing. I'm good with that. Caleb's got his mom back and newfound confidence in himself again, thanks to Jet Reno. The only down thing for me was that continuation of Caleb and Tarima's relationship. That little bit in the last one where he like that, but like using their relationship to find Braca 5 seconds before they find something that would allow them to find Braca. No. But as far as I'm concerned, that only cuts this episode down to 9.5. And I think last week's would bring the average down to, I don't remember exactly what I said it was, but I think 8 3/4.
Gannon, why don't you get yours in there before Vanessa?
Okay. I think for the 2 episodes together, I give it a 6.5, and then for this single episode, I'm going to give it a 5.5. To be honest, I'm going to die on this hill. While the court scene may be like thought-provoking to people in our age group, the ultimate goal of this series is to bring in new viewers that are young. It's lame. It's lame. I think that it is not a good use of this immaculate villain. And at the same time, that this show, if you look at it collectively, I don't really know how good of a job it's going to do to appeal to just regular 18-year-old kids. Like, I'm just going to be completely candid with you. Like just take just like a whole classroom of kids. Like, let's say there's 40 kids in there and you show them this whole entire series. I don't think that you're going to get a majority of them saying, this is fucking awesome, I'm ready to watch more of it. Compare it to other successful shows that are out there. I really just think that there's a lot of nicheness created with this. I don't really think that this series is doing a great job of doing what it's striving to do. And then again, I really do feel like the ending was rushed. And the most enjoyment I got out of this final episode was seeing the cadets, interacting with each other on the ship with Jet. That was fucking amazing. And I also think that it is a valid criticism. I've said this a couple of times throughout the season. It is ridiculous how many high stakes and how many important situations you're putting first year cadets in that should probably be saved for like the best starships in the fleet. You know what I mean? Like Discovery or your top 5 starships should be in a lot of these situations. Why is it a group of goofball kids in their first year literally saving the entire Federation territory? Like why? Like, I get Caleb is a genius and he had to be alone for 20 years, but why does that instantly make him Hacker Man? Oh, this is my hack that's going to get over Noose Brocca's detonator. Like, why is he just able to do this stuff? It's just a little bit silly. And again, the Discovery explanation was terrible. You could have just said, hey, Discovery is in refit because they just went through some shit and we're not going to have them for at least 8 to 11 hours. That would have been.
They already used that excuse, though. That's the problem.
Oh, well, I mean, am I supposed to sit here and believe that the mycelial network that literally allows them to leave the galaxy can't allow them to jump in and help in this scenario? It's a little bit stupid. And then, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you guys, I'm going to sound like a hater, but binging 4 episodes of this when I was behind, low-key felt like a chore. I really only did enjoy maybe a little bit over a third of the series genuinely. So 5.5.
Vanessa.
All right. So for me, I don't remember exactly what score. I think it was like a 3 for the last one. And for this one, I believe it is a 5. So like there's a lot of emotional pacing issues with this. There's some things that were resolved between characters that could have been resolved in other episodes, but they crammed it in here for some reason. Like the thing with Caleb and Terima, that should have been in the theater episode. Like, why was that conversation kept in this one? Why? Because then the connection that they have to, find the mom would have been a little bit more rewarding because that trust would have been built also the confrontation between Sam and Genesis felt super forced. It's like, when did this happen? When Genesis was like, I wish you were your old self. Like, when did that conversation ever happen? So that was weird. I feel like it sounded as if something was cut out and then they just kept that scene in. Honestly, I feel like this episode and the last one could have been together. Like, there was so many pacing issues in the last one. Like, why did they steal the shuttle? It was just so padded out, the last one, and I felt like it was the same here, where there were scenes that belonged in other episodes that got crammed in here to sort of run out the clock. And I feel like, again, Noose Bracca's like when they found him out to be mistaken, it just sort of like just completely derailed the justified accountability taking of the Federation, not just of this situation, but overall of like the shortcomings there and what it could have done in order to like restore things. Because remember, like, they're being broadcast out to the entire Federation here, and all these new member worlds are like, hey, maybe something happened to me during the burn that I need to be, you know, have things restored for me. So it's like, what is the Federation going to do to make that right? Oh, Noose Bracca's a liar. Well, I guess never mind. It's like, or Noose Bracca was mistaken. Never mind. It's like, whereas in Encounter at Farpoint, there was like an actual, like, you know, resolution to the trial. And I feel like Caleb was just sort of a mouthpiece of propaganda. Like, I have Stockholm syndrome, so I made a lot of friends and everything's great at this school and whatever. It's like, I feel like we have enough propaganda in other places. We don't need Starfleet propaganda. Like, be good rather than having someone to sell you that it's good. You know, we get a lot of telling rather than showing. So that's why I have my score.
Well, I liked this episode a lot better than either of you guys. I did have the same problem with Noose's sort of reveal that he was just mistaken. I do think that was kind of a weak storytelling decision, because it sort of made it so that the Federation hadn't actually done anything wrong that it needed to account for at all, other than separating Caleb from her mom. And I think it would have been better if the Federation actually did do something majorly wrong during the burn that they had to account for. They still would have been right that what Noose is doing is wrong. It still would have been the wrong response to what he's arguing. So I think that's probably my biggest, like, negative for the episode. But the stuff that worked really worked for me. I loved the trial. I thought it was excellent. Noose Bracca rocks as a villain, and every moment he's on screen, I'm just in it. He's so good. Tatiana Maslany blew me away, and I had high expectations because I'm an Orphan Black fan. I knew she was going to be good she'd be good reading a phone book. But here it was so raw and so brutal, and like the way she calls out Ake and the way she just like lets it all out. Oh my God, it was so powerful. And I think just like her, Holly Hunter, and Paul Giamatti, like the three of them together, it was ridiculous the amount of talent in the room with the three of them like in a scene together. It was incredible. I liked the stuff with Caleb. I liked the contrast between Noose and Caleb. And I like how far we've seen Caleb come from like this angry young kid who's like pushing everyone away to, embracing Starfleet as at this point as his home. Because I think that like Starfleet has also changed a lot since he was separated from his mom. And so we kind of see that change like exemplified in the way that they welcome Caleb and actually, help him get his life back on track, help him find his mom. Like, I think the rehabilitation of both Caleb and the Federation happening in tandem works really well. And so does the contrast with Noose, who did not have those opportunities and went down a different path. I just wish Noose was a little more justified in his badness instead of being like a kid with misconceptions. I liked the Genesis and Sam stuff too. I liked that throughout the majority of the season, we see Genesis sort of like leading Sam around by the hand. Like in the Vitus Reflux episode, Sam is like almost like her little henchman, like
not sure what happened. Not sure what happened there. We
how strange.
all got kicked.
And so Sam, I assume we're still broadcasting. Sam has to like reconcile these different versions of herself. The one that like Genesis knows, which is puppy dog Sam, who's naive and doesn't know how to be a person and doesn't know how to shake the hand, versus the Sam that's a lot more complicated and has more experience, and the Sam that's not actually being very nice to herself because she doesn't like or respect the previous version of herself. So it's more about Sam's feelings and her projecting that onto Genesis than it is about Genesis actually, telling her, oh, I prefer Sam. Sam thinks she prefers the old Sam, and she misses the old Sam, but she loves all versions of Sam. And so that to me was like really, really cute. And I loved like the reference to the language thing from the first episode that they like bonded over. Like, it just got me. There were so many little things. Jaden taking the lead with like the medical stuff, helping the doctor was awesome. Darren didn't really have much of anything to do in this episode, but that's fine. Overall, I think I would probably give this episode like a 9.5. I don't remember what I rated last week's episode, but I think together I would honestly still give them a 9.5. I think assuming I rated last week's episode below that, I think it rehabilitated the episode slightly, just because the payoff for a lot of the setup was really, really good. It would have been nice to see Caleb like directly apologize to Genesis rather than like the thing over the loudspeaker, though, and to Darum. So there were like a few little things that I would have liked to have more time for, but considering the constraints the writers were under, where they have to tell the whole like you get one shot, you have to tell the whole story, you got 10 episodes. I think they did a good job of like letting us get to know all these cadets and care about them. Like Dustin said, like emphasizing all of their different skills. We had a lot of really nice teamwork, group working together scenes that like really felt very Star Trekky to me. Ooh, that line where Genesis tells Sam, we have to be who we are right now. That was so good. That was so Star Trek because it's like celebrating the unique contributions they all bring to the episode. Like, yeah, I really liked this finale. I really loved this season. I can't wait for season 2. I will be furious in the likely event we don't get season 3.
Especially since they've confirmed it's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's rude. That's fucking rude. I actually am to the point where I think writers should not write a cliffhanger unless they know they're getting renewed at this point, because there's such a chance you're going to leave everyone on the cliff forever. Like, the show Extraordinary did that. They just had the character get, like, yeeted into some kind of strange void she can't get out of, and then they're like, well, the show's canceled, so she's just in that void now, and you're just like, why did you write that? Why did you do that?
Yeah, like the OA, Britt Marling, the voice of the computer here. That was like one of the best shows that I saw on Netflix. And one of the reasons I canceled it, because they left it on this where she's just like falling. And
That's
we
fucked.
don't know what in the actual fuck ever happened.
That's fucked. That's fucked.
Anyway.
Shouldn't be
I
allowed.
think I'm a Stargate fan.
All right. So I wish I could like show the whole thing. Can I easily? You can probably see in the background that we have a Jeopardy board. Next week, we're going to do trivia again, except Josh is going to run it, and we're going to do something a little different. We're going to try our hand at Jeopardy.
All Scouts questions.
Geo party.
All Scouts, all the time.
Yes.
So join us for that. I think this is going to be an awful lot of fun. The week after, we are going to get into... I don't really know how to title this damn thing. It started as why the male loneliness epidemic has affected how people consume media. But it's about way more than that. It's about how, like, fans seem to hate everything, every show and every franchise. And Academy certainly had its problems, but I don't understand the level of hate that has come for this or so many other shows recently. With just like vague attacks, and we've got stuff from all over the internet that we've been saving for this particular thing. Anyway, let's get through the fun stuff next week and do some Jeopardy. I would like to thank my co-hosts for joining me today and for all of you that have tuned in. So until we see you